As I stand before you today, I am reminded of a profound truth I discovered during my darkest hours, that even in the most desperate circumstances, life never ceases to have meaning. Each of us, regardless of our current situation, carries within us an inextinguishable spark of purpose waiting to be uncovered. Let me share with you a story from my experiences, one that has shaped my understanding of what it truly means to find purpose in life. Picture, if you will, a cold morning where frost clings to barbed wire, where human dignity seems as fragile as morning dew. In such moments, when everything has been stripped away, we discover that meaning cannot be taken from us. It is the last of the human freedoms. You see, meaning is not something we stumble upon like a treasure chest buried in the sand. It is not handed to us on a silver platter, nor does it announce itself with fanfare and celebration. Rather, meaning reveals itself through the choices we make, through the stance we take when faced with unavoidable suffering, through the work we dedicate ourselves to, and through the love we choose to give. Consider for a moment the paradox of human existence. We are simultaneously insignificant in the vast cosmos, yet uniquely positioned to create significance through our actions and attitudes. This is not mere philosophical pondering. It is the very essence of human resilience and dignity. I have witnessed individuals who, despite losing everything material, maintained their inner liberty. They chose to walk with their heads held high, to share their last piece of bread, to comfort others even when their own hearts were breaking. These were not extraordinary people blessed with supernatural strengths. They were ordinary individuals who discovered the extraordinary power of choosing their response to circumstances. Let me be clear, finding meaning does not require grand gestures or world-changing achievements. Meaning can be found in the smallest acts of kindness, in the quiet moments of choosing to remain decent in indecent circumstances, in the daily decision to contribute something positive to the world, despite our own struggles. Think about your own life for a moment. How often have you questioned your purpose? How frequently have you felt lost in the labyrinth of existence? These questions themselves are not signs of weakness, but rather indicators of your humanity. The search for meaning is what makes us human. It is our fundamental drive. I have observed throughout my years that those who have a why to live can bear almost any how. This is not empty rhetoric. It is a truth proven repeatedly in the laboratory of human experience. When we have purpose, we can endure pain that would otherwise seem unbearable. When we have meaning, we can navigate through the most turbulent storms of life. Let me share another observation. Meaning can never be prescribed. What gives purpose to one person's life might be entirely different for another. Your meaning must be discovered, not invented. It must be authentic to your own existence, your own values, your own unique position in the world. Consider the artist who finds meaning in creating beauty, the scientist who discovers purpose in unraveling the mysteries of the universe, the parent who finds fulfillment in nurturing the next generation. Each of these paths is equally valid, equally meaningful, equally worthy of respect and dedication. The question we must ask ourselves is not what is the meaning of life in some abstract universal sense. Rather, we must ask, what is the meaning of my life at this particular moment? Life interrogates us, and we must respond not with words but with actions, not with philosophy but with responsibility. I have seen too many people waiting for meaning to find them. as if it were a lost item that might suddenly appear. But meaning does not work this way. It is not found through passive waiting, but through active engagement with life's challenges and opportunities. Think of the times in your life when you felt most alive, most purposeful. Were these not the moments when you were fully engaged in something bigger than yourself? When you were contributing, creating, loving, or serving? This is no coincidence. Meaning reveals itself in the doing, in the being, in the loving. Let me address something that many of you might be thinking. But what about suffering? What about pain? What about the seemingly meaningless tragedies that befall us? These are valid questions, crucial questions. The answer lies not in avoiding suffering, for that is impossible, but in how we choose to meet it. Suffering ceases to be suffering at the moment it finds a meaning. This is not to glorify suffering or to suggest that we should seek it out. Rather, it is to acknowledge that when suffering is unavoidable, we still retain the power to choose our attitude toward it. This choice is our ultimate freedom. I have witnessed individuals transform their personal tragedies into triumphs, not by escaping their pain, but by finding purpose within it. The mother who loses a child and becomes an advocate for child safety, the accident survivor who helps others through rehabilitation, the former addict who guides others toward recovery, these are not people who have avoided suffering. Consider this. Every crisis contains within it both danger and opportunity. The Chinese character for crisis illustrates this perfectly. In our darkest moments, we are presented not just with challenges, but with choices. These choices define us far more than our circumstances do. Let me be absolutely clear about something. Finding meaning does not require extraordinary circumstances or dramatic situations. Meaning can be found in the most ordinary of moments, in the most routine of tasks, in the simplest of interactions. The key is not what we are doing, but how we are doing it, not what we have, but what we give, not what happens to us, but how we respond. I have observed that people often make the mistake of searching for happiness directly. But happiness cannot be pursued, it must ensue. It is the unintended side effect of one's dedication to a cause greater than oneself. Think about the times when you were truly happy. Were you actively seeking happiness in those moments? Or were you engaged in something meaningful? Something that demanded your full attention and engagement. This is no coincidence. Happiness follows meaning like a shadow follows a person walking toward the sun. Let me share something I've learned through years of observation and experience. Meaning can be found in three primary ways. First, through what we give to the world, our creative works, our contributions, our achievements. Second, through what we take from the world, our experiences, our encounters with beauty, truth, and love. And third, through the stance we take toward unavoidable suffering. Consider a mountain climber facing a challenging ascent. The meaning is not just in reaching the summit, though that is important. It's in every step taken, every obstacle overcome, every moment of doubt faced with determination. The meaning is in the climb itself, in the choice to continue when stopping would be easier. I have seen too many people paralyzed by what psychologists call the existential vacuum, a state of emptiness and meaninglessness. This condition is not a mental illness, but rather a human response to the absence of meaning. The cure is not in medication or distraction, but in engagement with life's challenges and opportunities. Think about your own life again. Are there areas where you've been seeking meaning in the wrong places? Have you been waiting for purpose to find you, rather than actively creating it through your choices and actions? Have you been focusing on what life owes you, rather than what you can offer to life? Let me be clear. Meaning is not something we can demand from life. Life demands meaning from us. We are the ones who must answer life's questions, respond to life's challenges, fulfill life's tasks. This is not a burden, but a privilege. It is what makes human existence unique and valuable. I have observed that many people today are suffering not from the struggle to survive, but from the question of why they should survive. This is a crucial distinction. When survival itself was the primary challenge, meaning was often clear and immediate. Now, in an age of relative comfort and security, we must consciously choose and create our meaning. Consider this paradox. The more we strive directly for happiness, the more it eludes us. But when we dedicate ourselves to a meaningful task or relationship, happiness often arrives unsought. This is not mere coincidence. It is a fundamental truth about human nature and fulfillment. Let me share another observation. Meaning is not static. What gives our life purpose today may change tomorrow. This is not a flaw in the system, but a feature of human existence. We must remain flexible, adaptable, ready to discover new sources of meaning as life presents new challenges and opportunities. Think about the different roles you play in life: professional, personal, social. Each of these roles carries its own potential for meaning. The key is not to compartmentalize these roles, but to find the thread of purpose that runs through all of them, weaving them into a coherent whole. I have seen individuals transform their lives not through dramatic external changes, but through a shift in perspective, through discovering meaning in their current circumstances. The office worker who sees their role as serving others, the homemaker who recognizes their part in shaping the next generation, the volunteer who understands their contribution to the greater good. These are all examples of meaning found in the ordinary. Consider the power of choice, our ultimate freedom. Even in situations where everything else has been taken from us, we retain the freedom to choose our attitude, to decide how we will respond to our circumstances. This is not just philosophical theory, it is practical truth proven in the crucible of human experience. Let me address something that many struggle with: the fear that their life lacks significance in the grand scheme of things. This fear is based on a misunderstanding of meaning. Meaning is not measured by the scale of our impact, but by the authenticity of our engagement with life's tasks and challenges. I have witnessed countless examples of individuals who found profound meaning in what others might consider small or insignificant actions. The nurse who brings comfort through a gentle touch, the teacher who inspires through patient explanation, the friend who listens without judgment. These are all manifestations of meaningful living. Think about the moments in your life when you felt most fulfilled. Were these not the times when you were fully present, fully engaged, fully committed to something or someone beyond yourself? This is the key to meaningful living, transcending our own immediate concerns to connect with something larger. Let me share a truth that many find difficult to accept. Meaning cannot be given to us by others. No one else can tell us what will make our life meaningful. We must discover this for ourselves through active engagement with life's challenges and opportunities. Consider the difference between success and meaning. Success is measured by external standards, wealth, status, recognition. Meaning is measured by internal standards, authenticity, contribution, growth. While success and meaning are not mutually exclusive, they are distinct, and confusing them can lead to profound dissatisfaction. I have observed that many people today are suffering from what I call meaning blindness, the inability to see the potential for meaning in their current circumstances. They are waiting for some future event or achievement to give their life purpose, not realizing that meaning is available in the present moment through their choices and attitudes. Think about the various challenges you face in your life. Each of these challenges presents an opportunity for meaningful response. The question is not, why is this happening to me? But rather, what does this situation demand of me? Let me be absolutely clear. Finding meaning does not require extraordinary abilities or circumstances. It requires only the willingness to respond to life's demands with responsibility and authenticity. Every person, regardless of their situation, has this capacity. I have seen time and again that those who maintain their sense of meaning through difficult circumstances are not necessarily the strongest, the smartest, or the most talented. They are those who remain open to life's questions and committed to answering them through their actions and attitudes. Consider the power of love, not just romantic love, but love in its broadest sense. Love has the capacity to lift us beyond our own concerns, to connect us with something larger than ourselves, to give our lives meaning through relationship and responsibility to others. Let me share something that many find surprising. Meaning is not always comfortable. Sometimes it demands sacrifice, challenges our assumptions, pushes us beyond our comfort zones. But this discomfort is not a sign that we are on the wrong path. Often it is evidence that we are growing, learning, becoming more than we were. I have observed that meaningful living requires both commitment and flexibility. Commitment to our core values and purposes, flexibility in how we express and pursue them. This balance allows us to maintain our sense of meaning even as circumstances change and challenges arise. Think about the legacy you wish to leave, not just material possessions or achievements, but the impact you want to have on others, the difference you want to make in the world. This perspective can help guide your choices and actions toward meaningful living. Let me conclude with this final thought. The search for meaning is not a journey with a destination, but a continuous process of engagement with life. Each day presents new opportunities for meaningful choice, meaningful action, meaningful response to life's demands. The question before each of us is not whether life has meaning, but whether we will answer life's call to meaning through our choices, our actions, our attitudes. The answer lies not in philosophical speculation, but in practical response to the demands of each moment. Remember, you are not just living your life, you are answering life's questions through how you live. Make your answers meaningful. Make them authentic. Make them worthy of the unique opportunity that is your existence. When we speak of meaning, we must acknowledge that it manifests differently in different seasons of our lives. Consider the young professionals starting their career. Their search for meaning might focus on contribution and achievement. The parent of young children finds meaning in nurturing and guidance. The retiree discovers new purpose in mentorship and legacy. Each stage brings its own questions, its own challenges, its own opportunities for meaningful living. I have observed throughout my years of work that many people become trapped in what I call the someday syndrome, postponing their search for meaning until some future date when conditions seem more favorable. When I have more time, they say, or when I'm more settled, or when I've achieved my goals. But meaning cannot be postponed. It must be discovered and created in the present moment. Think about your daily routines, the small decisions you make each day. Each of these moments carries the potential for meaningful choice. The way you greet your colleagues, how you approach your work, the attention you give to those around you, these seemingly minor actions create the fabric of a meaningful life. Let me share an insight that has emerged from decades of observation. Meaning often reveals itself in the spaces between our planned activities, in the unexpected moments that demand our response. It's in how we handle interruptions. I have witnessed individuals transform their understanding of meaning through what I call the perspective shift. This occurs when we stop asking, what do I want from life? And start asking, what does life want from me? This simple change in viewpoint can revolutionize how we approach each day. Consider the impact of this shift. When we focus solely on what we want, we become prisoners of our desires, constantly measuring life against our expectations. But when we ask what life demands of us, we open ourselves to possibilities we might never have imagined. Let me address a common misconception. The search for meaning is not a solitary journey. While each person must discover their own unique purpose, this discovery often happens in connection with others, through relationship, through community, through shared experience and understanding. I have seen time and again that meaningful lives are interconnected lives. The businessman who finds purpose not just in profit, but in creating opportunities for others, the artist who discovers meaning not just in self-expression, but in touching others' hearts, the teacher who realizes their impact extends far beyond the classroom. These are examples of meaning amplified through connection. Think about the moments when you felt most alive, most purposeful. Were these not often moments of connection, of contribution, of being part of something larger than yourself? This is no accident. It reflects a fundamental truth about human nature and the sources of meaning. Let me share another crucial observation. Meaning requires courage. It requires the courage to face uncertainty, to embrace challenge, to remain true to our values when doing so is difficult. This courage is not the absence of fear, but the determination to move forward despite our fears. I have observed that many people avoid the search for meaning because they fear what they might discover. They fear the responsibility that comes with meaningful living. They fear the demands it might make upon them. But this fear itself points to the significance of the journey. Consider the nature of responsibility. When we embrace responsibility for our choices, for our attitudes, for our impact on others, we simultaneously embrace our capacity for meaning. Responsibility and meaning are inseparable companions on the journey of life. Let me be clear about something that many find difficult to accept. Meaning often emerges from our struggles rather than our successes. The challenges we face, the obstacles we overcome, the suffering we endure, these experiences, while not pleasant, can be profound sources of meaning when approached with the right attitude. I have witnessed individuals discover deep meaning in circumstances that initially seemed only tragic or painful. The key is not in the circumstances themselves, but in our response to them, in our ability to find purpose, even in pain, growth, even in loss. Think about the difficulties you faced in your own life. How have these challenges shaped you? What have they taught you? How have they contributed to your understanding of what matters most? These questions point us toward the relationship between adversity and meaning. Let me share something that many find surprising. The search for meaning often requires us to embrace paradox. We find ourselves by losing ourselves in service to others. We discover strength through acknowledging our vulnerability. We find certainty through accepting uncertainty. I have observed that those who live most meaningfully are often those who have learned to navigate these paradoxes, who have found ways to hold seemingly opposite truths in creative tension. This ability to embrace paradox enriches our understanding of meaning and purpose. Consider the role of time in our search for meaning. While we must live in the present, meaningful living requires both a connection to our past and an orientation toward the future. We learn from our experiences, we act in the present, we aim toward future purpose. Let me address another crucial aspect of meaningful living, the importance of values. Our values serve as a compass in our search for meaning, guiding our choices and actions. But values must be lived, not just proclaimed. They must be evident in our decisions, our relationships, our priorities. I have seen many people struggle with the gap between their stated values and their lived reality. Closing this gap, bringing our actions into alignment with our values, is essential for meaningful living. It requires honesty, courage, and often sacrifice. Think about your own values. How do they guide your decisions? How do they influence your relationships? How do they shape your understanding of what makes life meaningful? These questions deserve regular reflection and honest answers. Let me share another observation about the nature of meaning. It often requires us to step beyond our comfort zones, to take risks, to embrace uncertainty. Meaningful living is rarely compatible with playing it safe, with avoiding challenges, with staying within familiar boundaries. I have witnessed countless examples of individuals who discovered new depths of meaning when they were willing to take conscious risks, to expand their horizons, to challenge their assumptions about what was possible in their lives. Consider the relationship between meaning and growth. When we stop growing, when we become content with routine, when we avoid challenges, we often find our sense of meaning diminishing. Growth and meaning are natural partners in the journey of life. Let me emphasize something that many overlook. The search for meaning is not just an intellectual exercise. It must engage our whole being, our thoughts, our emotions, our actions, our relationships. It must be lived, not just contemplated. I have observed that those who find the deepest meaning in life are often those who engage most fully with all aspects of their existence. They think deeply, feel deeply, act decisively, connect authentically. They bring their whole selves to the journey of life. Think about the different dimensions of your own life: physical, mental, emotional, social, spiritual. How integrated are these dimensions? How do they work together to create meaning in your life? These questions point us toward a more holistic understanding of meaningful living. Consider what I call the meaning matrix, the complex web of relationships, responsibilities, and responses that create the context for meaningful living. Each interaction, each decision, each moment of awareness contributes to this matrix, creating patterns of significance that extend far beyond our immediate perception. I have observed throughout my work that meaning often manifests in what I call ripple moments. Those instances where our actions create effects that reach far beyond our original intention. The kind word that changes someone's day, the small act of courage that inspires others, the decision to stand firm in our values that influences those around us. Think about the concept of legacy, not in the traditional sense of wealth or achievements, but in terms of the impact we have on others' lives. Every interaction leaves a trace. Every relationship creates a ripple. Every choice contributes to the larger tapestry of human experience. Let me share something I've noticed about the relationship between meaning and time. We often speak of spending time as if it were a currency to be exhausted. But in meaningful living, we don't spend time, we invest it. Every moment holds the potential for creating value, for contributing to purpose, for deepening understanding. I have witnessed individuals transform their experience of time through this shift in perspective. When we view time as an investment in meaning, rather than a resource to be consumed, our entire relationship with daily life changes. Routine tasks become opportunities for mindful engagement. Challenges become invitations for growth. Relationships become contexts for meaningful exchange. Consider the role of attention in meaningful living, where we direct our attention, what we choose to focus on, how we allocate our awareness. These choices profoundly influence our experience of meaning. The quality of our attention often determines the quality of our experience. Let me address what I call the meaning paradox. The observation that meaning often becomes most apparent when we stop actively searching for it. Like happiness, meaning has a way of emerging when we focus on living authentically, contributing genuinely, and responding responsibly to life's demand. I have seen many people struggle with what I term meaning anxiety, the fear that they are missing out on their true purpose, that they are somehow failing to live up to their potential for meaningful existence. This anxiety itself can become an obstacle to meaningful living. Think about the relationship between meaning and authenticity. When we try to live according to others' expectations or societal definitions of success, we often find ourselves feeling empty, disconnected from genuine purpose. Authentic living requires courage, the courage to be true to our values. Let me share another crucial observation. Meaning often emerges in the space between effort and surrender. While we must actively engage with life's challenges and opportunities, we must also learn to trust the process, to allow meaning to reveal itself in its own time and way. I have observed that meaningful living requires what I call responsive flexibility, the ability to maintain our core purpose while adapting to changing circumstances. This is not about compromising our values, but about finding new ways to express them as life presents new challenges and opportunities. Consider the role of community in meaningful living. While each person's search for meaning is unique, we are not meant to pursue it in isolation. Our connections with others through family, friendship, professional relationships, and community involvement provide essential context and support for meaningful living. Let me address what I call the meaning milestone myth. The belief that meaning is achieved through reaching certain life markers or accomplishments. While achievements can contribute to meaningful living, they are not its essence. Meaning is found in the quality of our engagement with life, not in the quantity of our accomplishments. I have witnessed countless examples of individuals discovering profound meaning in circumstances that might appear ordinary or unremarkable to others. The key is not in the external circumstances, but in the internal response, the conscious choice to engage fully and authentically with whatever life presents. Think about the relationship between meaning and personal growth. Growth often occurs at the edges of our comfort zone, in the space where challenge meets capability. This is where we discover new aspects of ourselves, new capacities for contribution, new possibilities for meaningful living. Let me share what I call the meaning multiplication effect. The observation that meaningful actions tend to create opportunities for further meaning. When we live purposefully, we often find that new doors open, new connections form, new possibilities for contribution emerge. I have observed that meaningful living requires what I term conscious complexity. The ability to hold multiple perspectives, to embrace paradox, to navigate uncertainty while maintaining purpose. This is not about having all the answers, but about remaining open to life's questions. Consider the role of resilience in meaningful living. Resilience is not just about bouncing back from adversity. It's about maintaining our sense of purpose through challenges, about finding new ways to express meaning when old paths are blocked. Let me address what I call the meaning momentum, the way that small, consistent choices in the direction of meaningful living can create powerful positive change over time. Each choice, each action, each response builds upon those that came before, creating a momentum toward increasingly meaningful living. I have witnessed the transformative power of what I call meaning mindfulness, the practice of staying aware of opportunities for meaningful response in everyday situations. This awareness allows us to find purpose not just in major life events, but in the small moments that make up most of our lives. Think about the relationship between meaning and choice. Every day presents us with countless opportunities to choose how we respond to situations, how we treat others, how we handle challenges. Each choice is an opportunity to express and create meaning. Let me share another observation about the nature of meaningful living. It often requires us to hold what I call creative tension, the space between where we are and where we want to be, between our current reality and our aspirations for greater meaning. I have observed that those who live most meaningfully often demonstrate what I call purpose plasticity. the ability to maintain their core sense of purpose while adapting the specific expressions of that purpose to changing circumstances and opportunities. Consider the role of gratitude in meaningful living. Gratitude is not just about appreciating what we have, it's about recognizing the opportunities for meaning present in our current circumstances, about seeing the potential for purpose in every situation. Let me address what I call the meaning matrix paradox, the observation that while meaning is deeply personal, it often finds its fullest expression in connection with others, in contribution to something larger than ourselves. I have witnessed the power of what I call meaning momentum, the way that living purposefully tends to create more opportunities for meaningful living, creating a positive cycle of purpose and fulfillment. Think about the relationship between meaning and personal values. Our values serve as a compass in our search for meaning, but they must be lived values, not just proclaimed ones. They must be evident in our choices, our actions, our relationships. I want to address what I call the meaning manifestation cycle, the way our pursuit of purpose creates an ongoing spiral of growth and understanding. Each meaningful choice we make not only contributes to our current sense of purpose, but also opens new pathways for future meaning. Consider what I term the responsibility resonance. How accepting responsibility in one area of life often leads to enhanced awareness of opportunities for meaningful engagement in other areas. This ripple effect of responsibility creates an expanding circle of purpose and meaning. I have observed that many individuals experience what I call meaning mutations, transformative moments, when their understanding of purpose suddenly shifts, revealing new dimensions of possibility they hadn't previously recognized. These mutations often occur during times of challenge or transition. Think about the concept of what I call purpose plasticity, our capacity to maintain our core sense of meaning while adapting its expression to changing circumstances. This flexibility is crucial for sustainable, meaningful living in our rapidly changing world. Let me share an insight about what I term the meaning momentum paradox, how the most powerful movements toward meaningful living often begin with small, seemingly insignificant choices. Like a snowball rolling downhill, these choices gather force and significance over time. I have witnessed countless examples of what I call purpose pivots, moments when individuals consciously choose to reorient their lives around newly discovered sources of meaning. These pivots don't require dramatic external changes, but rather a shift in perspective and priority. Consider the relationship between meaning and what I call conscious complexity. Our ability to hold multiple, sometimes contradictory understandings of purpose simultaneously. This capacity allows us to find meaning in both joy and sorrow, success and failure, certainty and doubt. Let me address what I term the meaning matrix evolution. How our understanding of purpose naturally develops and expands as we engage more deeply with life's challenges and opportunities. This evolution is not linear, but rather spiral, revisiting familiar themes with new insight. I have observed that meaningful living often involves what I call purpose synchronicity. Those moments when our internal sense of meaning aligns perfectly with external circumstances, creating opportunities for particularly powerful and purposeful action. Think about what I term the meaning multiplication effect. How living purposefully in one area of life tends to enhance our capacity for meaningful engagement in other areas. This multiplication creates a positive feedback loop of purpose and fulfillment. Let me share my observations about what I call meaning, momentum, sustainability, the practices and perspectives that allow us to maintain our commitment to purposeful living even during challenging times. This sustainability is crucial for long-term meaningful living. I have witnessed the power of what I call purpose persistence, the ability to maintain our orientation toward meaning even when immediate results aren't visible. This persistence often leads to breakthrough moments of enhanced understanding and opportunity. Consider what I term the meaning manifestation matrix, the complex interplay of internal choices and external circumstances that creates the context for purposeful living. Understanding this matrix helps us navigate more effectively toward meaningful outcomes. Let me address what I call the purpose paradigm shift, those transformative moments when our entire understanding of what constitutes meaningful living undergoes a fundamental change. These shifts often lead to enhanced opportunities for purpose and contribution. I have observed that meaningful living requires what I term conscious calibration, regular adjustment of our actions and attitudes to maintain alignment with our deepest sense of purpose. This calibration ensures that our daily choices continue to serve our larger meaning. Think about what I call the meaning manifestation momentum, how consistent choice in the direction of purpose creates an increasingly powerful force for meaningful living in our lives. This momentum helps carry us through challenging times. Let me share my insights about what I term the purpose integration principle, how meaningful living requires the successful integration of our various roles and responsibilities into a coherent whole. This integration allows for more consistent and powerful, purposeful action. I have witnessed the importance of what I call meaning maintenance, the regular practices and perspectives that help us sustain our commitment to purposeful living over time. This maintenance is crucial for long-term meaningful engagement with life. As we draw this exploration to a close, let us remember that the search for meaning is not a task to be completed, but a journey to be lived. Each day presents new opportunities for purposeful engagement, new chances to contribute, new ways to express our unique capacity for meaningful living. The path before you is both challenging and rewarding. It requires courage, commitment, and consciousness. But it offers the deepest satisfaction available to human beings, the satisfaction of living a life of purpose and meaning. May you find the strength to pursue your unique path to meaning, the wisdom to recognize opportunities for purpose in every circumstance, and the resilience to maintain your commitment to meaningful living through all of life's changes and challenges. Remember that you are not just living your life, you are answering life's fundamental question about meaning through how you live. Make your answer worthy of the unique opportunity that is your existence. Thank you for sharing in this exploration of life's most essential quest, the search for meaning and purpose in human existence. May your journey be rich with discovery, growth, and profound satisfaction. Let us conclude with this final thought. The meaning of life is to give life meaning. Through our choices, our actions, and our attitudes, we create the purpose that makes existence not just bearable but beautiful. Go forth with courage, conviction, and commitment to your own unique journey of meaningful living.